Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Well, it's another Friday night, and I do feel a little bit better tonight than I did last week. We go ahead and put in the link, let everybody in who wants to come in. Hope everybody's been trying to stay warm. It has been super cold here for me, that's for sure. Hey Sandy, I'm sure it's been cold out there where you're at in the mountains, probably a lot of snow too. Hey David and Randy. And well, look at there. Old McNally. Haven't seen you in ages and ages. And I hope things are out good out in Alberta, Canada. How about coming in and give us the lowdown of what's happening out there in your neck of the woods tonight? So anyway, still got a little bit of a cough, but not too bad. Hopefully this weekend. Hey, Greg. Yeah, let's say Gary. Yeah, thanks for congratulations for the I think it's 175,000 viewers or something I put out and all that. Hey Tom, Randy, Russell, and Greg, and let's see. But yeah, it's been mighty cold here all this week. It's been in the 20s most days, and it might have got to 30 degrees today, but it felt like it's about 25 at best and all that. Hey, Ripple. Ripple, what's your first name again? I thought I wrote it down, but I can't find it. So, but anyway, that's what's been happening here. Hey, Pastor Larry, Nancy. But it's been cold. Bees haven't been flying. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow it might get up around in the 40s. They might. That's what I thought. So, anyway, it's been super cold. And hey, Billy Lee. And haven't really been getting into the hives. Sunday, I did get into them. I was able to put pollen patties on them. The big hives were really eating through them. I was putting half-pound polys, and they would go through that within about 7 days. So I got a new supply from Bill down at Shenandoah Bee Supply, global patties with rocket fuel. So I gave every big hive a full 1 pound patty, figuring that it would last them at least 2 weeks till we get into March. Some of them needed some sugar bricks, not all of them. And so they seem to be in good shape. I do have one problem child. I got one of the hives that was always called it the dinky hive in my videos with the clear inner cover. It's got nosema. Hey, Doug. Hope everything's good up in Saskatchewan. Minus 40 degrees. Minus 2 Celsius today. Now, translation of that is 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And all that. Hey, Keith. Hey, Joey. Let's see. I'll go back and read what Doug said here. They were at negative 40 degrees. Celsius. That was, well, negative 40, I think is negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, if I'm not mistaken. Also. So you can have all that weather up there, Doug. I saw your video up there with all that snow and all that. Hey, Mike, Kathy. What's up, Bill? Can you hear me? Maybe not. And anyway, put pollen patties on. We're good to go till the first of the month. Weather's starting to change. Saturday, I think it's going to be maybe 40 degrees and 45 on Sunday, and then it around here it's going to get up around 50 on Monday.
Hey, Charlie.
Week. Hey, there you go. And all that.
I can't hear you. Hang on.
Yeah, hey, Ryan. Hey, Mike. Hey, buddy. Budney. Here comes Phil in. Hey, Phil, Texas.
How y'all doing? It's cold here. It feels like Canada.
How cold is it?
I think it's about 32 right now. That's the warmest it's been, though, in about 4 days.
Yeah, it was about that here today, but the wind was blowing so darn bad that it felt like it was 28, I think.
Yeah, it might have got to 33 or 34 briefly this afternoon, but it didn't feel like it. Tomorrow's supposed to be our start to warm up a little bit. So.
It's been in the 20s here all day.
Yeah, but your bees are used to it.
Yeah, they are. They're used to it.
Who's that? Who's used to it?
My bees.
Bill's bees. Hey, Bill, I never did get an email from you. I don't think.
I know you did. I know you haven't.
Okay. Don't want you to be sitting there waiting.
No, I'm slacking. So
that's all right. Hey, I'm an expert at that.
Hey, Jason.
What happened?
Hey, everybody in the chat. I can't read them right now. But.
Yeah, I'm fighting with technology here a little bit.
No, it's always good to fight with technology.
All right. Russell wants to know, am I on schedule for spring work or behind last year? The only thing I can say for this year is February has been really cold. Last year I was able to get 2 08 treatments in. This year I have not. It's just been a lot colder this February. Bees have not been able to get out. So that's the only thing I can say on that. So what's Phil up to? What are you making?
I'm making migratory covers.
It sounds like you're hard at it.
Well, I'm down to I'm making 14 of them. I only really have enough material to make 12. But yeah, they have insulation in them, so they're pretty thick. Here, I'll show you what I got. Let me see if I can. Basically, a piece of 3/4 plywood with 1.5 inches, oh, 1 by 2, I guess you'd say, nailed around the edge. So it's got that pretty good cavity in it. And inside that, I'm putting this 1-inch foam insulation. I have to trim it down a little bit to fit that piece. And then to keep the bees from eating the foam, I'm putting this 1/8 inch masonite. It's got I don't know, a white paper face on it, I guess. Melamine or something. So comes out looking kind of like that. I use screws that are just long enough to get through everything and attach it to the top.
So what do you got? You got like a 1/2 inch rim around there?
I got a 3/8 inch, 3/8 inch rim, and then I put a piece down the middle because, as you guys probably know, I like to try to sometimes split into 2 5-frame nukes in my colonies. I build them at least so I can do that. I made that piece about a 1/16 inch short of the 3/8 just so it wouldn't, if I do that, it just sort of high centered and rocking, but still not big enough that the piece can get across. I'm going to use a Reflectex inner cover on these, or I might use the canvas like they use at the University of Guelph. I'm going to try that out. I got a bunch of that now that somebody gave me. So that's what I'm doing.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Joey.
Hey. How y'all?
Good. What's going on, Joey? You doing anything in your bees?
Not in the bees. I hung a few swarm traps the other day.
Oh, okay.
Swarm boxes.
How many?
Right now, 5.
You've been talking that you weren't going to put up so many, but
I know.
I'm going to give you a head start again this year, but I'm planning on catching you.
Yeah. I may end up taking them down.
I'm going to put up a bunch. I'm going to try to stack the deck this year, Joey. I got them out there outside my shed waiting for me to rehab them a little bit. The first ones I made, I have to hold together with a strap. Mine are in 2 boxes. So I'm gonna make those where they can be screwed together like my newer ones are.
Yeah. I actually wanted to cut my boxes in half, like you got yours.
Yeah.
But when I put them up, I just totally.
If you already got them, just use them. If you want to do that, just go to some new ones.
Now,
That's just as easy.
Phil Roy says that cut the duck cloth just a little larger as it will shrink with age.
Oh, okay.
It gets pretty.
Okay.
It gets pretty
Good
coated
idea.
with propolis.
Okay. The lady that used to work for me, she retired, but she brought me a bunch that she had laying around. It's heavy, but it's dark green and black. I don't know how the bees will react to a black cloth above them, but I guess it's black inside the hive. They probably won't care.
Hey, Jack and Danette.
Yeah, ripple effect. Sometimes in the next week or so, I'll be kind of looking into them to see if they're ready to split. My target date's always for splitting is always March 1st, but that don't mean it happens March 1st. Seems like some boxes is right on time, some's not caught up enough to split, and some's already building swarm cells every year. Seem like it. So you never know. You know, Philip, you know how I put the foundationless frames in my boxes?
Yeah.
I was going to actually cut some plastic in half, make the storage frame like Brad uses for his drone. I was going to put a little strips of that in there to kind of just give it some support, and didn't do it. I may go back and throw one in each one of them or two.
Well, you know, I use fishing line in mine. You got to have the holes drilled inside to do that. I don't know if yours have that.
Some of them do. I bought some of them to do that. I bought the wire and some fishing line to see which one I wanted to use. Still sitting on the shelf up there in the box.
The fishing line's easier, but the wire will hold up better.
Yeah.
The fishing line's easier to deal with, but when you put the wire in there, the bees aren't going to break it or nothing. Like a mouse isn't going to get in there and chew it in half.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So that's what I have. I end up having to replace probably 10-20% of what I do if it gets stored over the winter and something gets into it. The bees won't chew through 30 pound. They'll chew through 15 pound real fast. I had a bunch of that at first, and the bees were chewing through it right and left. So I went to 30 pound, and they don't chew through 30 pound.
Yeah, I always feel it was closer to my house. I can get him to do most of my woodwork for me.
In all my spare time.
Yeah. All your spare time.
That's right.
So what's Bill up to this week? Anything?
No, I'm just sitting here looking at the calendar. I'm going to be starting Sunday working on new apiary. Hopefully I'll get most of the boxes and everything, the ground boxes built, and then get them put down Tuesday or Wednesday. I got to go to North Carolina one day this week too. So either Tuesday, Wednesday, finish the ground boxes, getting them on the ground and getting gravel in them. So I can start moving bees.
You say a ground box. What do you racks or what?
Yeah, they're going to be 4 foot wide and 32 feet long. I'm going to have 5 rows of them. And then it's going to be, they're going to sit on plastic. And you push them, you stick them down the ground, fill them with gravel so they're level. And then the hive stands sit on top of the gravel.
All right, so you're making
plastic.
You're making kind of like a raised bed, you might say, for the bees.
Yep. And that'll keep the grass down, keep grass from growing up around them and everything else.
Okay, I got it.
And I'll move bees on the, I don't know, probably 1st of March. And I'm just sitting here looking at the calendar. I'll probably throw treatments in. Spring treatments will go in sometime around the 9th of March because they'll be in for 2 weeks.
And that's forming?
Yep. And then I'll do my splits last week of March, first week of April, if the weather holds true to what they're forecasting in the long range forecast.
So when you do your splits, you're making nukes, or you're going to sell the nukes, or you're going to keep them and make more hives?
I'm going to do 4 demo arrays this year. And I'm going to make a couple nukes, but 4 hives are going over to the store. And then the rest of them are going to come here to the farm. Be here at the farm. It's going to be in a different spot. And then I'm going to go get those hives down to Edinburgh and bring back to the farm too, because they need a little work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if I don't plan it out now, it'll never get done. You know what I mean?
Right. So Joey, I'm sure you've been in your hives and everything else.
No, not lately. Been a couple of weeks since I went into one. But I thought about going in some today, but it never got out at about 45 maybe.
Oh,
Bees
really?
wasn't flying real good, so it was a good sunshiny day. But if the bees would have been flying a little better, I might would have went in a couple of days.
Yeah, at 45. They usually stay in.
Yeah.
You got to get up around 48 to 50.
Yeah, that's weird. I've actually saw them flying like 45 on a sunny day sometimes, and then the next time 50, 55, it'll be cloudy or whatever, and they ain't flying in. So you just have to kind of look at them.
Right.
It was 27 this morning. Hopefully it'll be warmer tomorrow. I can go in, maybe peek in a couple. Kind of get an idea of where we at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian said his were flying down there at Tennessee and Memphis, I guess it is. Yeah. At 31. Kind of depends on around here. The air's been wet feeling, and it's been really windy for the last day or two.
Yep.
And, I don't know, for me, even myself, it's just like trying to stay inside out of the wind, and we're hovering around the damn stove at the mill if we were sawing. We didn't do any of that today.
Yeah, I had bees. I was trying to move bees last weekend, and it was like 35 degrees, but the sun was out, so they were flying. So I decided not to move them.
Yeah, well, Brian down there, Memphis area, he finds if they're stuck in the hive for a long time, they're more willing to get out when it's a little colder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to move them again tomorrow, but I'm a little worried about that too. But I think I'm gonna go out pretty early in the morning when it's still like 26 or something, and lock them in, and then move them at about 10 o'clock to noon, somewhere in there. It'll still be 30 to 35. I'm gonna move 5 colonies and set up a new bee yard at somebody's house. A friend of mine.
Joey, Dennis wants to know, what do you use honey frames for your story frames?
Says, why not use honey frames? I do all once. I've got a few medium, but most everything I got. Usually when you make the story frame, it's brand new plastic.
Well, the story frame, the way I get it, it's in the brood chamber, right? That's where they're going to make it.
Yeah, that's where they can, if they want to make a brood cells, they can make the brood cells.
Yeah, that's where it's being put at, unless you're using mediums in your brood frame, just like me.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, how's everything on the Eastern Shore? Let's see.
Jason was on the string team on Wednesday.
Huh?
He was a guest on the string team.
Yeah, Jason lives about an hour, 15 minutes from my house on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. There you go. We're dialed in. That's pretty good, Nancy. Yeah, Jason's dialed in. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I got to go get a drink. I'll be back.
Yeah, the story frame. I used to use at least one foundationless frame in every box where they could do whatever they wanted to with that one, and that's mostly what they use. Sometimes they would do half of it with drone, and the rest of it worker. Sometimes they do the whole frame. So if I go to these story frames like that, I'll probably end up putting 2 of them in each one, or at least one in each box. If it's a double deep, where they can do what they want to. A lot of my old drone brood frames is getting old. I need to be tossing them, letting them start over anyway.
Yeah.
I probably got some 8, 9 years old at least. I pull them out every year. It's weird. I pull a lot of them out every year, even some that was all workers. Even if it was foundationless, I'll pull it out and say, I'm going to cull this. I just won't throw it away, throw it in the freezer, and end up pulling it back out and giving it back to them for some reason. As soon as I pull it and say I'm going to cull it, I need to punch it out. Throw it out.
You do.
Throw it in the garbage then.
So Westcliff has a good question. He doesn't know they don't know what a story frame is. So you want to explain that to him, Joey?
Yeah. Man, I wish I had one in here. I got a frame. This is a medium, but all a story frame is, according to Brad, that's what he calls it. I think he got that name from somebody else. But all you're doing is cutting this in half and just using half of it in the center, and leaving the ends open where they can build what they want to.
Yeah.
Did he say he flipped them on their side, or did he uses the same orientation?
Yeah. As far as I know.
Yeah, and to expand a little bit on what Joey's saying there, Westcliff, it gives them the opportunity to do what they want, and then you go back and pull the frame and read it, and it gives you basically where the status of the hive and where they're at with their brood and everything else, what the hive's doing.
He wants it's to allow him to draw drone comb mainly, right?
Yeah, and when they got somewhere also to build drone brood, at least it looks like it to me that you have less burr comb in between the two brood boxes.
That's one of the benefits of it.
Yeah.
That's why I try to put a drone frame in every one of my hives.
Yeah. I started to go ahead and just buy the drone frames, but I decided to just be cheap and cut the plastic in half.
Well, you don't have to put any plastic in it, Joey. You can just stick it in there and they'll draw a drone comb in it.
Well, that's the way I used to do it all the time. Just put a whole empty foundation frame in there, and let them do what they want. But if they don't attach it at the bottom, and I got somebody that don't know to be careful and work it like a top bar, they'll flip it over and flip it plumb out.
They will drop it right on the ground every time.
Yeah. That's why you need to put you some reinforcement in it.
Yeah.
You put some fishing line in there, that'll fix that. Unless it gets cut accidentally, which that happens too.
I've got. Who was it that Man Lake bought out? One of those companies.
Was it Kelly?
It was Kelly.
Kelly's the one they used to make the foundationless frame. It didn't have the groove in the bottom where you didn't have to worry about beetles in there, and they beveled the bottom of the top bar to give them that starter point like a triangle.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who makes those anymore. I used to buy them from Kelly.
I don't think anybody makes them anymore, Joey. I really don't.
If somebody would start, I would buy some from
There you go, Phil. There's a
Okay,
hint right there. He dropped a heavy hint on you.
them.
He even told you how to make them.
Let's get the selling here now.
Yeah.
Okay, see here. I just use a starter strip.
Looks like a 3-string harp to me.
That's what it looks like.
What I used to do, I used to buy the wedge frames all the time and just break that wedge off and flip it over 90 degrees and staple it back in. And that was my starter strip. But then I found them.
I did that for a little while.
I found them at Kelly because you don't have that groove in the bottom for the plastic and or the wax foundation to go in.
Yeah.
So
I
that takes
just
away from the hiding places for the
There
hiding.
you go, Joey. Skipper
I used to
Laurel at 777 Avery makes them.
Okay.
I used to cut the groove in the bottom, but I said I'm never using that, so I just quit cutting it in there. I cut the groove here to put the starter strip in.
Yeah.
And then Jason says that new place, that 21st Bee Hive frame thing, that plastic ones, they might have it.
I spent some time talking to Skipper at Nobby. He's fun to talk to.
Who?
Skipper Latrell. I talked to him at Nobby. He had a booth there.
Is that who owns 21st Bees?
Oh, I don't know. Is that his? I don't think so. No, 21st B is those new frames, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that those?
Yeah, I know that they had
I don't know. They were
the
some kind of new frames. They're expensive.
They also have the foundationless starter wedges as well.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know. The main thing I know, Nancy said she couldn't get the bees to use the green frames. And one thing I have noticed, I have to really over wax them in order to get them to pull wax on them. They don't seem to be coated heavy enough from the factory.
Put a little sugar water on them.
I've heard you say that before, Bill. That's a good idea.
Yeah, you go spray a little sugar water on them. They'll go to get the sugar water. And they figure out there's wax on them. They'll start pulling them out.
Thanks, Jason. I got to get that name for my notes here.
Philip, your last video, wasn't you going to hang some swarm traps there? You were just getting them ready. Because
I was just getting them ready, cleaning them out.
Okay. Because I was going to, I started watching like the first minute or two and got interrupted, and I hadn't been back on, been able to go back and watch it.
That video was just a short. It showed how many wasps had moved into my swarm trap, is all that was.
Yeah.
And the reason I was doing it that day was because it was nice and cold and they weren't moving, so I could dispatch them.
Oh, they must have been hibernating in there then.
Oh yeah, they were thick. The ones you see in the video aren't even like a third of them.
You know, I
knew they'd be in there. Go
ahead. Not to get off subject, but talking about wasps, but I had a deer stand. It was a ladder stand on the creek, leaning up against a pine tree right on the creek. It'd been there for years. And one year, finally, red wasps decided to hibernate. I guess they'd crawl up under that bark or whatever. And I'd get on that stand, and when it started getting like, the sun started shining and it'd get like 50 degrees, the red wasps were just real slow hovering around. They couldn't hardly do nothing, just flying a little bit.
Yeah. That same thing happened to me. It happens to me in my deer stand, Joey.
Yeah.
The first year it was like started getting light, and I was like, "What is that? It looks kind of furry on the wall." And it was all there's like a 2x4 running across where the window flap is. and they were all trying to get up under that, and they were just hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And then I decided I wasn't gonna mess with them. So just like you said, when it started warming up, they started moving.
Yeah.
Then they started flying in and out. And
Hey, Pete.
so the next time I got in there and it was cold, I took me a little block of wood and started crushing them, letting them fall down.
Yeah. I mean, they never did get aggressive or anything. They just would start flying around. If you're scared of wasps, they'd probably make you jump out of the deer stand.
No, I wasn't scared of them, but they start crawling everywhere, and then before you know it, one of them crawled in their shirt, and then you move a little bit, and they react to it, and they sting you. But yeah, they hibernate. They love these swarm traps if you leave them up. It'd be a good way to trap them, I guess, and kill them if you're trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
I don't typically kill them. They nest all around my cabin, and unless they're right by the door where I'm going to be bumping and knocking around, I don't fool with them. But
Yeah.
if they're right there, sometimes I'll go ahead and take them out.
I get them moving some of my stored equipment sometimes, or equipment I got out in the bee yard and all that. If you're not careful, there'll be some in there when you grab a box and take off walking with it. Next thing you know, you got wasps flying around you.
Well, the thing that moved into mine that really caused a lot of what I call damage is mud daubers.
Yeah. They'll get on your
mud
plastic.
daubers. Yeah, they get on the plastic. They get on the frame. They'll get around those strands. They'll build around these fishing lines, and they'll build up here, and it's just a mess. I got a bunch of them inside my cabin, but I knocked their nest down, but I don't mind them too much because they take out a lot of spiders.
Yeah. I get a lot of black widows under my equipment too.
I get a few, but I get what I got at my place is brown reclusive. I got a bunch of those.
Yeah.
At first, I didn't see many, but I'm seeing a bunch of them now. They really, and I brought back a bunch of. I have a stack of plywood there that I keep at the cabin with some metal on top of it. So I bring back pieces to build. So I think I've transplanted the brown reclusives from the farm to the house here. I'm probably gonna have a bunch of them around here now. Don't tell my neighbors that. Nobody's listening to this live, are they, Charles?
No, ain't nobody paying no attention.
I'll mute you guys so I can run the saw real quick.
Bill, you gonna do a video when you make that new apiary, yard?
Yep. Yeah. Hell, I had to go out and buy a box grader just so I could do it.
Huh.
Because I'm going to take all the topsoil up, or the sod off, so I can make sure I get all the grass roots and all that crap out of the way. I hate weed eating around beehives.
Me too. Still have to do it every now and then, but I hate it.
Yeah. So
I weed eat it around some one morning when it's good and cool. I figured that'd be the best time, and I learned that was the worst time.
Yep.
Makes them madder.
Yeah, it does. Because you're disturbing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bees would love that weed eater out there. I know when I'm out in the country, that's the last thing I do before I get in the truck and come home is weed eater. Because I have to get in there with my full suit on.
Yep.
There's a long time no see Darren.
Yeah.
Darren?
Hey, the Pennsylvania beekeeper.
Yeah.
Hey.
We can hear you. Not much.
Am I echoing?
Nope.
Oh,
Oh,
No, you're just low.
I'm low.
not too bad. I can hear you good.
Just jumped on to say hello. I wanted to ask Philip a question
All right, go ahead.
because you got that Hilco 7-gallon tank, right?
Yes.
Have you used that yet?
Yeah, we did use it. I put my last 5-gallon bucket of honey in it. Well, not the last one, but the last one I'm going to sell this winter.
Oh.
And,
When you-
yeah, I did.
Does your controller? I don't know if you remember this. A couple of weeks ago, I was telling you that my controller, like you can hear the relay clicking off and on.
yeah.
Did you hear that on yours?
Yeah, you got to reset it because John's got a video out. But the thing is, when I went and looked for that video, because when I was setting it up, or when Noah was setting it up, I couldn't find it. There's another video that sets it up the old way that's still out there. So I called them and they sent me links to the newer video. They sent me links to both videos.
Okay. So
But
He
there's a
used
way.
to click on and off momentarily. He's got it now where it's like what 3 minutes
oh,
before it,
Yeah,
before it
even
cuts
more
in.
than that. Yeah.
well, mine went out. 2 weeks ago, mine went out. So their
Wow.
customer service was real good about it. I just sent them an email like on a Monday morning, and they replied back and like they sent me one out right away. I took it like 10 days to get here, but they were like really good about it. But the
Yeah.
new one that
Well,
they
they
sent me doesn't make any sound at all. And I was just wondering if like my original one was maybe clicking because like there was some issue with it. But I'm thinking it's like an
No.
old relay style maybe versus the new controller maybe is like a solid state.
Well, the new one there, does it have like a light that comes on when it's on?
Yeah, the light comes on, and then that's how you know it's. But there's no sound to it, so no click.
Really? Mine clicks,
Yeah,
but it doesn't click very often. It clicks like every 15 minutes or something.
And then what happened? I woke up in the morning, and it was a Saturday morning. And it was this it would buzz like every like 5 seconds. It would just making a buzzing sound like that relay was sticking or something, and it wasn't heating up. That's how I knew something was up with it. I just was curious, like how yours is acting. And Joe, you have one too. Don't you?
Yeah.
Yours,
Did you send a bad part back to them?
No, they send me some postage. I got to send it back probably this weekend.
I think what happened there is
Hanky.
more people than you had that problem because it was clicking on and off a lot, like every 30 seconds or a minute.
Yeah.
So it wears itself out because he mentions that in that video.
Okay, I'll have to look for that video.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I had to call them to get it. But the thing is, I bet yours is already set up correct now because the ones they had in house, they probably went in and reset before they sent them out.
Mine doesn't click at all now. It's quiet. I like it now.
They might have went with a different contact.
That's what I'm thinking. There's something different in there.
Probably
Yeah,
solid state.
Mine
You know what's
clicks,
nice
but it's
though?
not very often.
I didn't even have to send them any like proof of purchase. Usually like when you want to claim a warranty, they make you go through all that and do, like sending copies of your receipt and all that. They just like looked up my email and like they saw that I like made some purchases and they sent it right out.
Yep.
So you can't beat that.
Yeah, John's real good about that stuff.
How's the weather there, Charlie? How's your bees?
The bees are cold. It's been really cold except for Sunday. I guess it was 45 to 50 degrees. And then it's been in the 20s the rest of the week. Today it supposedly got to the 30s, but it felt like it was in the 20s.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, maybe 40, 45, 47 on Sunday, and then 50s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll see.
Yeah. I haven't even put my pollen patties in. It's been like almost like feels like steady 20s. It's just like you can't even open up the lid.
I've been getting in there where had one day of opportunity to do that. And so I've been, I went through about, 30 pounds of pollen,
Really?
something like that. Last Sunday, they've been eating about a half a pound a week, and I figured at that point in time, it looked like to me it was going to be 2 bad weeks of weather. So they were pretty good, strong highs. I just dropped a whole pound in on them, and then added a little bit of sugar bricks to them, the ones that needed it. So I'll be glad when it gets up to 50 degrees next week for sure.
Yeah, I know. I got at least 2 dead outs. I know I have, but that was like 2 weeks ago. Then like the past 2 weeks, it's been so cold. I'm afraid that I have more now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be in hives this weekend feeding some more.
So I'm going to go ahead and feed them a super DFM on that one nosema problem. I presume you don't want to feed them until they can get out of the hive, right? So they can get rid of their problems.
Yep.
All right, that's what I kind of figured.
Did you ever get a hold of State Apiarist?
Yeah, we text back and forth. You know, too cold to feed liquid, and they won't take it because it's too cold, and it's a 50-50 chance. And I told her, I said, well, the bees are, from what I can see from not digging into the hive, they look like a very small cluster. They've been small for a month. So I'm wondering whether or not they're even going to make it. If they don't, it doesn't surprise me. And that kind of stuff. So, you know, it just, I don't know whether it's too cold for the dogs or not, Jason. That's the hot.
This weather changes everything. Kind of ruined my plans for putting it on the pollen, and just I don't know. No, I wasn't ready for this. This is like a good old fashioned Pennsylvania winter, and we haven't had one in about 10 years. We've been so lucky.
No, global warming's taking a break.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, how's Cornell going?
Well, the next class starts in April.
Oh, I thought you started in January.
Next portion of the class starts in April.
Okay. That's the one you're attending, Darren.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, Bill, you started in January, right?
Yep, I did.
Tell us what you learned. Give us the lowdown on it.
I have to go back and refer to my notes. No, the first class was really interesting because it dug into a lot of genealogy and raising bees and breeding bees and queens and drones and just general bee behavior, what you breed for and how you breed for it, and traits and everything else.
Now, is that live? Those classes, or
no? It's online.
Okay, but I mean, is it like recorded so you can just like watch it anytime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Once you get to that one, you'll enjoy that one. So have you figured out the format yet that they want you to answer the questions in? Or are you just going to start? You're starting in April, right?
I'm starting. Yeah, I haven't even signed up yet.
So the questions they asked you at the end of each chapter, there's 2 discussion questions, and they want you to answer them in an outline format with as much information as you can find. So, and then at the end of the chapter, the final, the I guess semester or whatever you want to call it, test. It's a some of the questions are essay, most of them are multiple choice.
Multiple guess.
Yep, multiple guess, but you do have you have to do a 45-minute presentation. You don't actually do the presentation, but you have to do the outline for it. So, yeah. and there's certain things that they look for, certain points you have to hit, and they want to see your references, where you got your material from, and they want you to have 2 or 3 prepared questions that you will answer during this lecture.
Really?
Yeah.
And he read one of those answers off to me, which is like about 2 pages long. And I'm like, well, I'm done with that.
Yep. So there's another girl here.
That's too much like somebody went to college, and I'm like,
there's another girl
longer than the course, huh?
Yeah, that's doing it. That's here close to me, and she sent me an email one day. She says, "Have you started yours?" I start mine in February. So I was like, "Well, here's everything I did for my first classes." So.
Well, I figure I'm going to try it. This will probably be the last time I ever go back to school. Like DC saying he don't want to go back to school. I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm going to do it for something that I want to do, which is just for bees, and that's going to be it.
I looked at it as it's about time,
Yeah.
So,
I can't see myself going back to school for anything else.
Yeah.
All that. Are you still going to do your queen rearing or your quail building thing in April?
Yep.
Do I need to sign up for that, or what? Like, what do I need to do to get?
No, you don't need to sign up. Just show up.
Okay.
If he's already got you in.
Yeah.
You're gonna do that, Charlie?
Yeah, I'm going. I'm definitely going. I was down there last week.
Oh,
I had to.
Yeah,
teach.
missed you last week, Darren.
That's right.
What was last week?
Splits.
Oh.
A good time was had by all.
Charlie's got the Demeray flu.
Yeah, I did the
Yeah, he
Demeray
does.
thing, and Will Toothaker was there, and
Thought y'all was going to video that.
Well, it didn't quite work out that way.
Oh.
I think somebody forgot.
No, we didn't forget. It's just I didn't have anybody available to do it. So.
Sometimes the thing about video and something like that in the class, people get to asking too many questions that make the video long. You have to edit and cut.
Yep. Well, there was a lot of questions asked, and I don't mind answering the questions because some people, that's how they learn. So
Yeah.
So Bohemian, our whole class is right there at my store.
What's Philip doing? What's he working on?
He's making migratory covers.
Insulated.
Insulated migratory covers. Should I recap? Basically, Darren, I built them like, instead of a 3/8 inch shim that people put around for a feeder, I put an 1.5 inch shim so I can stuff some insulation in there.
Okay.
And then to protect that insulation, well, I don't have any left, but I use a piece of 1/8 inch masonite. And then, of course, this is the drop down. I don't know what you call that on the front and back. I cut a little relief into that so it has a little slack in it to fit down over the box. And I put a little piece in the middle so I can divide it into 2 newts if I want to.
That's nice.
That's what I'm doing. This one here, I'm using all my scraps of insulation. Try not to go out and buy another sheet of it.
Pretty soon you'll get down to putting 2 pieces in there.
Well, no, I did that last one. Has 4 pieces in it. It was the piece I cut off.
I was going to say, it looks like you're already down to 2.
This is all I got left right here. And I think I was doing that. Actually, I got a piece across the room. That's it. Over there. I got enough.
So how you think your bees are doing, Darren?
Like I said, I know that I lost two. They were weak hives. I wasn't surprised that they died. But since I've checked, like our temperatures have dropped. We had some single digit temperatures. I wouldn't be surprised if I lost more.
Yeah. I know I lost at least one more. So, because we were in them last Sunday feeding. So, I know I lost at least one.
And I was overwintering a few of them in singles, so it worked really well the past couple of years, but it wasn't nearly this cold. So I don't know.
Well, I got one. I've got a single 8-frame, a deep 8-frame. It's sitting on two cinder blocks.
See you, Joey.
And that beehive was a late swarm last year. I should have known better to catch it, but I did. And I babied that thing all the way through the winter, and it's still kicking.
Yeah.
But it's jam-packed full of bees. I guess that'll teach them to be lazy.
I think I'm more worried about the singles running out of food in those stores than anything else. I can't get in them. I did put some. It was like around January 15th. We had a warm day, and I put some fondant in there, in the hives, and I'm hoping that's going to help them out, keep them going.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to go in this weekend. I think it's going to be up in the 30s. Bill, tell Nancy what your topic is about. In April. I thought everybody knew by now.
Yeah, I did too. Nancy, the topic for my first class with Cornell was on genealogy, breeding queens, drones, traits to breed for, how to breed for those traits, and just basic bee biology and bee health.
No, I'm talking about your class in April. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, in April, that's queen rearing. I thought she knew that.
Yeah. Steve, thanks for the super chat.
Looks like Steve got off the boat finally.
Yeah, but he had a windstorm. He lost 9 nukes. They got turned over. I've been down that road. How's the whole now? Make it to this year's harvest? It's going to be close, Steve. Or Doug. It's going to be close.
So I had flipped over to the stream team the other night, Wednesday. I was watching Nancy's, and I flipped over to check out what they were. I thought Randy Oliver was going to be on there, but I never did see him. But Jason Crook was on there, which I think he's in the audience, right? But I got there late. I got there at like 7:30 or Central Time. And he and Greg were talking about losing a bunch of colonies, but they never would recap, so I never really knew what they were talking about. I finally just quit listening. But
well, the subject was about all these colony losses that a lot of the commercial guys is having. That's
right.
what they were talking about.
Apparently, they were having some similar issues. I don't know, but like I said, I couldn't understand. Were they talking about losing 25% or 50% or 75%?
Oh, okay.
Like I said, when I joined in late, they were just talking about what could have caused it. I really didn't have a point of reference to stay interested. I guess I need to go back and re-listen to it.
Yeah, everybody's talking about like colony collapse. It's reoccurring, like crazy, like in crazy numbers. Like bees are dying. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the commercial guys down here close to us, he's always got anywhere between 5,000 and 8,000, and he's lost 80% of his this year.
Really?
Wow. Jeez.
Now, what's the characteristics? Are they just gone or dead on the bottom board or anything?
Not really. He didn't get into it too much.
I heard
Well,
a guy.
the initial posting said that they were finding small patches of bees on the frames, small patch of bees left on the frames, and the rest of them were gone.
That's what happened like 20 years ago.
Yeah, exact same
They
thing.
were just, bees were just
Couldn't that-
disappearing.
Couldn't that be the brood that's hatched out? Because that'll happen when they've gone. There'll be a few nurse bees running around.
Yeah,
They hatched out.
but that's a lot of scones.
It is.
Oh no, yeah, it sure is. I heard another guy talk.
Lost 40
Go
gallons.
ahead.
Jeez.
He lost what?
He lost 40 colonies. Jason,
Ooh,
did.
shoot.
How many
did
hives
he have?
total? How many hive total did you have, Jason? I know he's also a pollinator too.
All right.
Is that the guy on the Eastern Shore, Charlie?
Yeah. He
126.
had 126.
Okay, that's still a big loss.
Yeah, it is.
Now Brian's talking about what I listened to the guy on whatever, one of them syndicated blogs, and they were talking about the percentages. Commercial was 62, 54 sideliner, and 50% hobbyist.
Yeah, that's the one I was listening to. That guy was talking about how a lot of his colonies just got weaker all of a sudden, right? He lost, not that he lost them, but in 2 weeks' time, they had lost like 2 or 3 frames of bees.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, that's like 30 couple percent for Bohemia bees, right?
40.
Yeah, but also,
40 out of 126.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, do the math on that real quick. 10% is 12 and a half. Times.
40% maybe.
I don't know whether it's chemicals or not, Tom.
That sounds like a pretty big loss for somebody like Jason, who's pretty
Yeah, I mean,
into the bees.
if
That
you
he's
got
never
two
had-
hives, if you got 2 hives, you lose 1, you got 50% loss.
Yep.
You know,
So what, Bob lose 75%? What are you saying?
I guess
I don't want to start a rumor, but I was wondering if maybe something was up with the global patty, because isn't that what everybody uses? That's in commercial.
I don't know.
There's a lot of them using them for sure.
I use them.
I use them.
I just kept trying to think, what do they all use? It's the same. That's the thing that came to mind. I'm sure that's not it. I do think the Amitraz resistance has a good bit to do with it, because I think they were dependent on that. A lot of them were.
Yeah, a lot of them get down to that. I mean, I have. And my results from my National Honeybee Survey prove that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that Jason Christman I don't know where he got this information, but he was saying that the first time that happened, when was that, like 20 years ago, it was during the time of the bird flu, and now like that's back, right? So he's not trying to say anything, and I don't think anybody's really saying it's the fault of the bird flu, but it's just coincidental, right? I mean, it's happening again the same, with the bees at the same time as happening with the bird flu. So who knows, There could be a connection there.
Pointing out that. Maybe that's what Charlie has, is bird flu.
No, I'm good.
Charlie, I think we got some warm windows coming next week.
Yep.
Yeah, about 50 degrees.
Yep. I'm hoping to get in that last yard.
Yeah, I listened to Jason, and he was talking about he had different. It was, I guess, Wikipedia where he's bringing it up, certain dates and certain things happening at that same time. Whether it was more coincidental or not, I'm not sure.
Well, I don't think that any of us will ever know exactly what happened, because I don't think they're going to come out and tell everybody.
Yeah.
I
You
just
know,
want to
they
know
talk
if it's
about-
Clay says that
Bees-
bees don't have lungs.
yeah,
That's
they
a
don't.
good
They
point.
they have spiracles, but I don't know
I just-
nothing about the bird flu, the avian flu. Is it the lungs of the bird that's getting affected, or something else?
I don't know.
Don't
I
know.
mean,
I just wonder if it's over or not. Or if
you know,
it's continuing.
they talk about the chickens getting the bird flu. Well, the thing of it is, what my question is, and Bill knows this firsthand, is number one, today's commercial. Thanks, Jason. Today's chickens don't see the light of day.
Nope, they don't.
So, you know, it ain't a bird flying over or nothing like that. Their
Nope.
feed is augured into them. Their eggs
Yep.
are ran out
And-
on a conveyor belt going to the washroom. So I don't know that other news article I'm wondering about.
Now the chicken houses here in the valley I can speak about, but the chicken houses here in the valley, before you go into them, you have to do a disinfectant wash on your boots, and then you step on a clean mat and you go into it like an airlock door, set of double doors. You put booties on your boots and you put a mask on your face.
And probably put a Tyvek suit on, don't you?
No, you don't have to put the Tyvek suits on unless you're
I
going to
mean,
be
I do
handling,
know,
unless
Jason-
you're going to be handling the birds.
yeah, like
And-
Jason's over there on the Eastern Shore, you'll see chicken houses and hog houses, and they got big signs up. You're not allowed to get in here, nowhere near them.
Exactly.
And the biosecurity for all them big outfits is very
Is-
stringent.
Yes. And most of the people that have the chicken houses around here, they have signs at the end of their driveway.
Mhm.
If you are sick or you have, head cold, you have any type of illness, stay in your vehicle.
Yep.
And they're sealed. They can't, no outside critters can get in, and the birds can't get out. The food's augured into them. There's a belt underneath them. It takes the poop away. And before that belt comes back into the building, it's disinfected.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these big egg layers, they know what they're doing.
That's for the egg laying or the meat birds or both.
Both.
Any of it.
And the
Hold on,
meat
hold on a
birds,
second. Hold on a second. If they know what they're doing, don't sound right to me because it ain't working.
well, the meat bird raisers here in the valley, it's the same type of biosecurity to get into the building. And those birds show up as peeps. And of course, you all know peeps will die occasionally. So they go in and they cull out the dead ones, and then they raise them until they're 2 to 3 pounds. And then they come get them, they put them in an enclosed vehicle, and they take them to the slaughterhouse. So there's no outside contact with any birds, nothing on the
So how
outside.
it's being spread, who knows?
Sounds like a recipe for disaster to me.
And it doesn't make sense because you got cage-free birds that roam around outside. Why aren't
Yeah.
they dying from bird flu?
Yeah.
Yeah, because fresh air is
Could
the
be
best thing for everybody. It's like they told us to stay inside during COVID. It was the worst thing we could have done. What was it?
You know you can't
Was it
put a
what-
chicken farm in the state of Louisiana?
Is that right? Too many chicken thieves?
Well, a
Is that
guy
why you
down the
spent
road from
27
me,
years?
he shut his dairy down several years ago, and he was going to make use of his property and set up a chicken farm, and they wouldn't allow it. 5 miles from him, he's like 2 or 3 miles crow fly to the Mississippi line. Just across that Mississippi line, you start seeing chicken houses everywhere.
Yep.
Is that a new law? Because back in the 80s, there was a bunch of chicken farms popping up in North Louisiana because Tyson Chicken moved in a big factory up there.
Yeah. See, they might have some grandfathered in, but nobody new can start. Unless it's changed in the last 5 or 6 years.
I don't know. Well, anyway, let's get back to bees.
All right,
Yeah.
back to bees.
I don't know. Anyway. Hey, Matt. Let's see who else. What are you doing, Phil?
Oh, sorry. My microwave. Heating up gumbo.
Oh, anyway, how's Will doing?
Good. Run around like a maniac.
Did your wax come in yet?
I just got notice today that I can pick it up in Philly. I'm going to try and make a run down next week.
Cool.
I'm trying to combine a couple runs here. Going to run down to Jersey and want to hit Philly on the way and try and wrap it all into one trip if I can.
There you go.
So,
All right, you can stop by Nancy's house. She's got a couple gallons of.
Yeah, she's got those 2 buckets of high fructose corn syrup she said she'd sell you.
that's special Hilco stuff.
Yeah, that special Hilco syrup. She'll sell it to you.
Yeah. I don't feed any of that. I use the real sugar. So,
She tried
long
to
as I
sell
can
it to
stand
me
it.
today.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they were selling that for like 77 a bucket. Is that what it was down there?
I think that's what it was at Nobby.
Yeah. Well, Pro Sweet's got it in it too, right?
Yeah, Pro Sweet's got it in it.
I mean, all those big syrups you can buy are.
Yeah, but see, Pro Sweet has Man Lake's mixture in it as well, mixed in with it.
Did any of the rest of you guys feed that Pro Sweet or any of that?
I
Yeah,
use some of it.
I used to.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't.
I'll use it to feed my 2-frame mating boxes.
Because it doesn't attract.
40 at the expo.
Well, the other bees that are right in front, my mating boxes are behind these hives right here. So, I mean, I should have them at a different location, but even after a different location, you put sugar on them, that small, those bees, bigger hives will find them.
Yeah, they'll come get it.
That Pro Sweet, I put a little pint jar of it on there. Usually I'll kind of cut it, and the regular bees can't smell it. So that way the hives were left alone. They won't attack them. Once they attack them, that you can't do nothing about it. You're dead. I started, so that's, I like I was saying down at the class last week, I checked into it when it first come out, bought a bunch of it, found out that number one, it's so thick, you got to have a gear pump, which costs you a couple $1,000 for a pump like that I found, like if you buy a date ant pump or something like that. And so I said I wasn't doing that. And I started using half-filled buckets to fill the top high feeders in the fall. And my shoulder said, well, we're not doing this anymore. We're going back to a tank where we can just pump it off.
Yeah.
So that's where it. So I fed for that one fall a couple years ago, and I got a little bit of it left, and I'm using it. I'm going to be using it in my queen rearing operation this year, and that's pretty much it. And all, it's good for that. But
Still doing it the old-fashioned way.
Bob, is that liquid you get from them? Is that what you're talking about? Bob Walker?
No, Bob used to go up and get real sugar water, I guess you call it.
He said he buys inverted sugar from Domino.
He did.
He said yes. Okay.
Is Bob still doing that delivery job, the late night job? I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't been on in a while, actually. Haven't been keeping up.
So how is your hives, Darren? They still looking pretty good? Have you
They're
been
okay.
able?
Like I said, I lost 2 and could have lost more. I don't know. I'll find out this weekend. I went in with a couple hives that were like low on population. Most of them seem to be populated pretty well, though, so I'm thinking they're doing all right. It's just this, like I haven't been able to get into those singles, so I'm worried that they're probably running low on stores.
Darren, where are you at?
Like I'm just over an hour west of State College,
Oh, okay.
just above Altoona.
I'm just south of Harrisburg.
Okay.
You've had
Yeah,
more
you got-
winter out there.
You've got several people up there in your area, Darren, that are taking that Cornell course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you've got people up there close to you can study with. Because I don't think we all end up taking the same classes, but at different times.
Okay, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Is it online, Bill, or do you have to show up somewhere?
You can do everything online.
Okay.
Heidi ho.
There he is.
Hey, Bob.
Hey. Good to see everyone. My brother called me right when y'all started, so had to talk to him. So apologize for being late.
Bob, I thought Nancy was on Tuesday nights now. I don't know what's going on. I
She's
thought you
on
guys-
On Wednesday nights.
Nancy's on Wednesday nights,
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
6:30.
We'll
Yeah.
see. No, I'm not working at the bread company anymore. I've got a job for the cable company, but it doesn't start until the middle of next month. So 3 more weeks, and then
Okay.
we'll see what schedule they got me on. So we'll see how that does with the streams and all.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you're back on because I was thinking like you might have given it up or something. So
No,
Hey,
not
Darren,
yet.
hey, Darren. Michael Jackson died too. Okay.
And he was a child pedophile on top. We just found out he was a child pedophile.
And he was in debt. He was in debt. Several $1 million.
That's funny.
So Bob, when do you start the new job?
The 18th, and then it's 6 weeks of classroom training, and then 6 weeks of I guess kind of a on the job type of training, and then a new schedule of change again. So we'll see how it goes. But it's in the call center, sales call center for the cable company when people call to order or change their stuff. So it's going to 4 months of training, I guess, is what what 12 weeks ends up being. 3 months, something like that, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's unfortunate, but light company likes their mony. So
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So, Bob, I feel for you going into a call center. I really do.
It's not my favorite environment. But you know what? One thing I have noticed, and as you get older, even though they can't discriminate, you ever notice on every application they ask what year you graduated high school and all that stuff, so they know. I mean, one of the questions they asked me on the interview was, well, why should we hire you over someone else? And it's like, well, I understand I'm old compared to everybody else applying, right? So it's just one of those things. It's harder to find a job as you get older, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Just tell him, because I can sell a bucket of poop.
Right. That's it. we can do things, but my thing was, hey, I just told him, I said, evidently I'm not a spring chicken, so you won't have to worry about me showing up with blue hair and coming into work late and not showing up and wearing flip-flops and Crocs and all that. You know, I follow the rules when I'm here. So
Yeah, and you won't have to worry about you being afraid to be near a magnet either.
yeah. So I just, you know, and then by the time I got home, I had a thing saying, "Yep, okay, we're gonna hire you." So, but yeah, Joey, that sugar that I was getting, that inverted sugar,
Yeah.
I was buying a tote of it.
Yeah, I remember that.
For $5.50, $6.50, something like that, for 3,000 pounds of syrup. Of course, I had a lot more colonies, so I don't need that much anymore. Which, you know, is why I bought the bigger truck and why I got the tote and all that stuff. And now it's like, I don't have the hives. Maybe I will after the season. But the thing is, now when I first started getting it, you would go right to the domino plant and they would bring a hose down from these big tanks and they would fill it right up. And evidently the company switched hands somehow, and you have to kind of call and order it a few months ahead of time to.
Hey.
Yeah. So so I still have quite a few buckets from last year. So I have plenty. What I have noticed is it's gotten very thick over the winter. I mean, and when you pour it out, you'll even see some crystallization in the bottom of the sugar because it started to crystallize and dehydrate. So I'm thinking that I might have to throw a couple of those buckets in my honey warmer to thin them down, or, you know, hot water when I mix them to 1-to-1. And it has worked well, but, you know, I've got more feed than I have bees at the moment. So
It'll thaw out. I've got about 100 gallons left in a tote that's all sugar right now. It warms up outside, it'll melt right back down.
when it gets 100 degrees in the summertime and
100 degrees in shade, it'll melt right back down.
Mm-hmm.
One of the commercial guys not far from me, he keeps a big tank of it, a big tank.
Yeah.
And he's got a line going through these it's just regular water heaters, those like an instant water heater. It
Just
goes through
circulates hot
several
water.
of them just to keep it warm. And when he, you know, if he knows he's gonna have to be pumping some to fill his portable tanks up, he'll turn it on a few hours ahead of time, run those pumps and those heaters, and kind of thin it up a little bit.
Well, last year, I mean, I put out a couple videos, but I was just doing a drain, right? I'd pick it up and I drained a whole tote into 5-gallon buckets to make it easier to pour and fill jars. But boy, even straight out of the tote, it was kind of slow using an 1.5-inch pipe to drain it, you know, gravity drain it, but it worked. I mean, it did drain out. But
well, Joey, you'll know what I'm talking about now. We used to use high fructose corn syrup to mix in cattle feed when we were grinding feed.
Well, I mean, it's if you can get the sugar in bulk like that, you'll save a lot of money. I mean, 3,000 pounds, and it was every bit of 2-to-1 when you get it. So I just diluted down a little bit in a bucket and let it go. But
that doesn't ferment at all on you.
Nope, it's thickened up, but it's just like the day I got it. And other than obviously being real thick, but if you've got a sugar, well, everybody's got them. It's just finding out where they're at, right? It's not the factories. I'm lucky in Charlotte. They have they send all that, I don't know, the syrup out to like soda places, to Pepsi and Coke, so they can make their drinks. But what I was buying from them originally was the stuff, like they'll pump out a whole tanker full of syrup and they'll have some in the bottom, but they have to clean all that out. So they drain it all out and pump it in these tanks, but now they can't resell it as fresh product, right? So that's what I was buying, like the seconds, but it was liquid. So, yeah, 65% sucrose is what Steve Amos says. But that was the original blend. When I started getting it from the place next door, they kind of do custom blends, and that's what they were doing. So I've only.
I remember when you went down and got a load, you was video and it had bees all around it,
all over the place, on top of it. So it's
somebody's bees were doing good.
So I think the name of, well, there's a different name for the one in Charlotte, but I think it was ASR, American Sugar Refineries. So you can Google and see if there's one near you. You might be able to go and strike a deal up, especially when they're just selling the waste product. But the bees don't care, right? You can wrap poop in sugar and they'll eat it as long as they can get to the sugar. But I can't say it's any different than going to get a pallet of sugar yourself and mixing it. But that was the original stuff wasn't inverted, but the stuff I got last time was. And he just pulled a tote and basically on a forklift ran a pipe into my tote and gravity drained the whole tote into my tote, and we sealed it up and left. But it's pretty cheap. I mean, what did we figure out? 3,000 pounds for $650. What's that come up to?
I got to figure this out.
That's 21 and a half cents a pound, 22 cents a pound.
Yep. About right.
In a liquid. And then I cut that, right? So it actually ended up being 10 cents a pound or something like that. 11, I basically mixed half a bucket of syrup with half a bucket of water and gave it to him. And I didn't even mix it grid. I didn't take out a drill and all the paddle and all that stuff. I just used my sprayer on high and filled the bucket up that way. And it worked pretty good. So yeah, it used to be $2 a gallon, but
so it's 66% sugar in that mix.
In the last one I got, he said it was 75%.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So that is a great deal. 20 something cents. And I mean, you're still only paying less than 30 cents a pound.
And it's already liquid, right? I don't have to have a heater and a mixer and all that stuff.
Even in just sugar value, it's a great price.
Yeah, 250 gallons, Hope. That was one tote. Whatever the tote size was, that's what it was. But, and the funny thing is, like, when Amir comes over here, I let him get it for $15 a bucket. It's like, okay, you need a couple buckets, $30. Only thing is I lose 2 buckets that are about $15 a piece to replace.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you ain't making nothing on that. I should be, hey, you bring me 2 buckets and lids and you can get it for $15.
Exchange.
Yeah, sell it to him for $5 a gallon, Bob. $5 a gallon, that's $25 a bucket.
Yeah, that guy, he helps me out sometimes, right? He'll come over and bring me some virgins or something if he's got some extra. So I don't stress it on stuff like that. Especially if I'm not using it, I don't want it just sitting out there forever, because those buckets, believe it or not, it's not the syrup that you got to worry about going bad. It's the bucket out in the weather, and you go to pull the bucket with the handle, and all of a sudden that little thin piece that the bucket is attached to just pops off in your hand.
Those white buckets don't like sunlight a long time.
Yeah, that's the main thing. So I got to get that. I haven't even put liquid feed in the out yard at all, and they're doing okay out there. So
Bob, are you doing anything with your drawn comb that's in your get outs?
I've got it stored outside, as you guys seen in my videos. It's just kind of sitting everywhere. And
are you opening it up and letting some light in there? Because I'm worried you're gonna lose a lot of it if you don't do something.
Yeah, I lost some at the beginning of the season, and then I sprayed it with the gosh, what's the name of the stuff? from Apimon, the same stuff that Todd was talking about.
Yeah, the stuff Todd's selling. Yeah.
Yeah, and those frames are fine. It was just the
That's
ones
good.
that got destroyed before I could get to them. That
The only thing I didn't like about that is you have to do it every 4 days or something like that. Or
I did
4
it
times
once.
or something.
I did it once, and
And it worked.
yeah, it worked fine. Now, I just used a little 1 gallon pump sprayer. Sprayed it. And matter of fact, I started getting lazy at the end. Instead of pulling every frame out, I would just flip it over and kind of spray them from the back like that, and across the top bars, and it worked fine for that stuff. I mean, compared to the Sertan or whatever, the little thing is like $50 something. Now I don't know how much you can do out of that or whatever, but that's.
He said 10 boxes.
Yeah, out of the little package that we sell for $19.99, you can do 10 boxes with that if you're moving diligently. And of course, a lot of that is up to you, right? How fast you're moving it on the frames or how much you're putting on the frames. But it worked well. I mean, I can't complain about that at all. And
Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're doing something.
yeah, some of it got wrecked, but that was before I sprayed it, and so it's still out there. So I'm just kind of harvesting those as, I don't have that many colonies, so I don't have to go through that many boxes right now. But I've got enough comb to make up several boxes of good comb. And see, this is another thing for standardizing your equipment, whether you use all mediums, shallows, deeps, whatever you use, because I've got lots of drawn honeycomb now, right? But it's different size from using my brood comb. So it's like if I get 2 wrecked on one, well, then I'm in a shortage. And if they were all the same, I could just take honey frames and put them in the brood box and let them go to work and redraw honeycomb. But, every year working a little bit more towards getting it fixed up. Let me see if I can, what the name, I always forget the name of the products. Unfortunately, I'm getting old. Let me see, products. Hygienic Boost is what it's called.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. It's not bad stuff at all. See, guys, this is what happens. I come in and it's like I dominate the chat. So sometimes it's better for me just to stay out so everybody else can talk and I can hear hear what's going on with you guys. Yeah, I don't want to mix honey supers with brood frames, but I can use honey frames if they're the same size in a brood box and then redraw out a honey frame, Nancy. So it's
what's your weather been like down there?
Cold. It's 31 degrees now. We had a high of 44 today, and last night it was 29 overnight. But it's supposed to get a high of 55 tomorrow. Then I think we're creeping into the 60s. But I don't know how you guys' swings on temperature goes. Ours is like 30 degrees right now. If it's 60 and 63 at night, you can imagine it's going to be in the 30s during the day, it's going to be in the 30s overnight. So it just really swings, and that's hard on the bees, right? Especially when it gets to the end of the year and they got a few days they can't get out. Well, you can get starved out. So just trying to keep it going. What's the little brood in your honey? Everything gets strained. No. But, it is what it is. Today they were out. I was surprised. I did a little live today, but it was 44 degrees, and I had bees flying on the Camilla today. So it was interesting. They were bringing in pollen, and it was a little bit colder than I thought they normally fly, so it's a nice little surprise.
Yeah, we probably got a couple more weeks here before I see bees flying. They did fly 2 weeks ago. A few of the hives were flying, It was only like 45 degrees. I was kind of surprised to see any bees flying at all. But, our temperatures have just been down in the 20s, and evening temperatures are dropping down to the single digits, and we're getting down to 0. It's going to be a few weeks for us.
Are you guys supposed to get any more snow this year, or you think you're done with it?
We usually get a good one in March, so I'm expecting we're probably going to get a good one, at least one more.
Yeah, we usually get, I don't know, what does Earl call them, second spring or something like that, where it starts warming up and then all of a sudden you get a cold snap for a while and then it gets warm again.
Indian summer.
Indian summer, yeah. I think we're in that right now, right?
Yeah, some people call that a full spring, the first one.
Yeah.
So I think we're going through that now. And sometimes in April we'll get weather in the 40s, so it just depends. But usually I kind of when I look at the schedule, I'm looking for times when it's in the 40s at night. Whenever it's consistently in the 40s at night, then I feel pretty safe about things with the bees, because during the day it's going to be 70, 60 to 70, right? So it's usually
that's what ours is showing next week, 75, 78, like 45 and 54 at night. So
yeah,
I might be able to play with some bees.
Yeah.
You might be able to start splitting. There's guys here, and I've been guilty of it in the past, where they say Valentine's Day, they can start splitting them. And if I did that with my colonies, I could probably split 2 right now, right? So,
yeah.
Matter of fact, my one license hive, it had a drone brood being raised. It had everything. So I reversed the boxes and gave them some more room, because I don't want them to get too confident and start landing in my bushes and trees and neighbors' houses and everywhere else.
Yeah. Well, that colony I went in last week, it didn't have but like maybe 3 frames of brood. Maybe a little more than that. I can't remember, but it wasn't much for a 3 deep box, but it had a lot of food in it, a lot of honey and nectar.
That's kind of
seeing drones, Joey?
I didn't see any drone cells in the brood.
Well, the only colony that I had that was that one single deep license hive that I had. And I mean, it had 4 to 5 frames of brood in that one that I moved up, and the rest of mine don't look that good. Not, as good as that colony. I've got some that look like crap that may not even make it, and then I've got some that look like at least a nuke in a single box type of deal. So they look like they'll make it, but the license colony definitely that hive lived up to its name, with the insulation. So we'll see. I'm even contemplating if I can get my finances on track and stay at a job for more than about 4 months, maybe we can get things under control and get the start moving some of those colonies in, because I think it's 160. I think better be at them for $168, a double deep with a bottom board and lid already put together, no frames in those. But I'm really starting to become a fan of those hives, especially when you get extreme heat. We don't get extreme cold, but we get just the opposite, the extreme heat, right? So that seems to affect my bees a lot. So
the heat does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what happens is after the honey flow, when it's July and August, when it starts getting into 100, 114, 110, you'll get a lot of bees that are just hanging out on the front. They're not doing anything. They're just bearding on the front, right? So if they can more easily regulate the internal temperature of the colony, then they'll be in there working. If there's too much body mass in there, they just move all out on the front, and then they're not doing anything.
Well, didn't you guys drop down to like in the 20-degree range there a couple weeks ago?
We had snow. Matter of fact, a month ago today we had snow. Not as much as Joey did down in Louisiana, but we had snow. That's funny to even say.
Yeah.
But and last night it was in the 20s, and it's 31 right now. So it's just temperature just doing this. And like 2 weeks ago we had an 80-degree day. It's just welcome to, I guess Louisiana says the same thing, right? If you don't like the weather now, wait 5 minutes. It's going to change.
Just wait, it'll change.
And wait for about 2 more weeks here, 2 to 3 more weeks. I'm going to show y'all a video of how much pollen we get here that just falls from the pine trees and is on everything. You guys get that green, we call it the green fog or whatever?
It's falling now.
Oh, is it?
Out of the pine trees?
Yep. And you can see it blowing across the road when the wind blows, and that's
probably why I'm congested.
Yeah, it gets really bad.
Let's see. Well, hey, you guys, I'm gonna go get something to eat, and wanted to stop in and say hello. Good to see you, Bob.
Good to see you, Darren. Have a good one.
Yep.
See you in a couple months.
Yeah, I'll try to stop in more often.
We'll see you at Honey Harvest.
I'll be in the chat.
I'll see you in April.
That's fun.
So, Will, you say you've been, I know you, did you ever buy a skid steer or whatever?
That's might be the other part of my trip next week. I think I found a little cat unit that I like.
What kind is it?
Cat 257B2.
That's a good unit.
It's about an 8,000 pound machine.
Yep.
It's not a monster.
That's a good unit.
Is that a wheel machine or a track machine?
Track machine.
Yep.
I'm hoping maybe I can work things out on that. There's 2 of them the guy has, that a friend of a friend, and I'm hoping to go down and pick up the wax and pick up if I can wrap them into one trip, it'd really be nice.
Yeah.
Word of advice: when you go to look at that cat machine, make sure you look at the undercarriage really close.
Oh yeah.
Cats are known for wearing the undercarriage out.
He's got one at 1,800 hours, and he's got one that's like 23 right now. So, yeah, I want to give him a good look.
What's it? A machinery dealer?
Yeah, he's a little machinery dealer. Like I say, it's a buddy of a buddy. The one guy I have a bee yard on his place has some kind of connection with him and recommended him to me. And I talked to him yesterday on the phone a little bit. So, talk to him a little more, see what can work out.
Steve Amos want to know. I don't think he spoke to you.
Yeah, I did good at the show. I mean, I wish the stuff that I took down that I thought would sell didn't sell as much of, and then the stuff that I didn't think would sell sold like crazy, and we sold everything we had. So for a first, show like that, I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. Financially, it wasn't as good as it didn't pay for itself. But you know what? The first time down, you're just cutting your teeth, and I'm happy with how it all turned out. Looking forward to it next year.
Now you kind of know what to do, what to bring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to tweak that a little bit. So I'm going to bring a pile of lotion bars and soap and different stuff. So.
Yeah, it takes you to, like the first time you kind of learn the ropes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm still trying to figure out how I want to fit into some of this stuff. So.
Did people ask for stuff you didn't have? They say
No, not so much.
The
women would come up and look at the lotion bars and the soap, and like they didn't walk around. You know what I mean? They walk right up, saw what they wanted, bought it all up. My girlfriend sold all that stuff out the first day. The woodenware stuff that I took down, I think beekeepers will see something and naturally want to build it for themselves if they can, and it was all stuff you could do that. So I think I just got to mix it up, maybe come at it from a different direction on the woodenware part of it.
Well, also with all of the pre-ordering stuff that was being sold, a lot of people might have bought a lot of woodenware ahead of the show, right? They ordered it for pickup.
Yep, absolutely. I had offered some of that on my website, but I don't think my website was up long enough or reaching enough people yet for some of that. So, but
Well, when it comes to woodenware, there's a lot of different salespeople down there for that.
yeah,
there is.
You
Yep.
kind of have,
And unlike a farmer's market with the lotion bars and everything, you're selling to people that are familiar with with that type of product, right? So they just come up and it's like you said, they know what they're looking for and what they want, and they just come and get it.
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't seem like they would walk around the show and look at everybody's. They'd walk up, and when they found something they liked, they'd snag it up. So
Yeah.
and then the next couple of days, everybody comes back. Some of them don't, and then they come back around asking, "Do you have any more? Do you have any more?" Well, sorry, it all sold out. You know what I mean? So, but yep.
so you made that stuff?
Yeah. Yep. Some of it had wax in it, some of it had honey in it, and like I say, it just kind of went. It really went well. So, but I'm anxious to play with this wax dipper and see what comes out of that, and burning the side of some of them boxes and see what that looks like, and start playing around with some of that a little bit. I already sent a message, Bob, to ASR, trying to find out what the skinny is on getting totes of syrup there. So
Is it close to you?
there's one in Baltimore, so that isn't too bad.
That's
I'd
probably-
much rather buy it mixed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's probably a Domino's in Baltimore.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it is.
Well, didn't ASR buy Domino sugar?
I don't know.
It's American Sugar Refineries, so they probably have several. Matter of fact, I think Cargill also sells syrup. Now I don't know the prices because it's one of those that you have to call and get them to quote you and stuff like that. But I think they also sell it if you got a Cargill near you.
Yeah, I'm going to compare that. There's a place over in Lancaster County that I had seen, offers some of that. I didn't ask them for a price or a quote on anything, but I'm going to look into it. So that'll give me two to compare.
I wonder if Gold Barrel has any of that.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
They're the big honey guys over in Lancaster, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they do fondant and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I should just buy me a tanker truck and have them fill it up, and then I just come up to everybody and pump it out in your totes.
Yeah, just 40-some thousand.
And a commercial license, right?
Yep. Huh.
I don't think Gamber has sugar.
All right, so Ripple Effect said yes, Cargill does. So the thing is, I mean, when you're buying it directly from the sugar manufacturer, you're cutting out that middleman, right? So
Yep.
Well, and who wants to stand on top of a tote with a, either plugging it in and running a gas pump to mix it, or standing on top of it with some kind of ginormous paint mixer? Or if I could buy it already in sugar, in a liquid suspension, that's where it's at.
well, that's the thing for me. The worst part about it for me was the gravity drain off of the back of my truck, because I don't have a forklift, right? So once that tote is in the back of my truck, well, I had to plumb out from that and do all that. But it came out, and it works. It's just when you're small scale like I am, it just takes a little while to get it out of there. But I think that Joey, you may know this, that Bob Benny, you remember that video that he put out on his feed truck? He's got a little it's a cheap gear pump. Like when I say cheap, it's a couple $100 gear pump that he runs off of on the back of his truck to transfer syrup. And he says he could do 2 to 1, but it's just slower to do it. So
Yeah, you can pump fructose syrup 2 to 1 syrup with a double diaphragm pump too.
maybe that might be what it is.
He had a diaphragm at one time. He went to something a little bigger.
It was a pump from some type of RV or boat company.
Yeah,
that's what I've got.
Yeah, it's probably a bilge pump.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
No, it's like a clear water pump that they have. You can get diaphragm or you can get gear, but
that's what I use.
I ended up with a gear pump from Harbor Freight, and I'm waiting to burn it up, but I haven't burned it up yet. It's 12 volt. I hung it right on the side of one of my totes, and I filled my tote up, and then I pump it out with a garden hose. So,
yeah.
But I don't do, it's just the very end of the year that I try and do as close to 2 to 1 as I can. But
yeah,
I mostly feed 1 to 1 or later. So,
yeah, I've got a air double diaphragm pump run by air, and pump it through a 1-inch hose.
Yep.
If I go out tomorrow, I'll try to remember to maybe I do a little video on that syrup that's been sitting there since the last time I got syrup, which was when was it? I got nukes the same day last year, so that's how long it's been sitting in the bucket, and I can show you what it's doing.
You do one on your bucket, I'll do one on my tote.
Okay. My tote is, I drained it. I had to drain it to get it off the back of my truck. Driving around town in my truck with 3,000 pounds on the back isn't always the best thing, but I got it out of there. Now I just have an empty tote sitting in the yard. I didn't know beekeeping was going to create so many lawn ornaments for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a lot.
My yard's full of them too.
It's called a Marco, MARCO, self-priming bilge pump.
Yep.
Oh, is that what it is? It's a bilge pump. Wow.
Yeah. Because it's like it's a trash pump is what it is. That's what a bilge pump is, trash pump.
Yeah, Greg Burns said he used straight Pro Suite all year last year. But he also buys it by the tote too, probably. So it's probably getting a pretty good price being a dealer and selling it.
Yeah, that tote of fructose I got when I got it, it was just a little over 4,000 pounds.
Yeah, I didn't weigh it. I just assumed. I tried to do the 60 pounds to the gallon type of deal to figure it out.
Yeah, fructose is a little heavier than 2 to 1. So, yeah, the farm I picked it up on, they had a set of scales there. I pulled up on the scales and weighed coming in and pulled on the scales going out. So it's a little over 4,000 pounds.
So what is that, 10 or 12 pounds a gallon?
It's more like 14.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
It's heavier than honey.
Yeah.
It is.
Thick, yeah.
And when it gets cold, it runs slower than 2 to 1. It's like sitting there waiting for molasses to come out of the spigot.
Do you guys feed 2 to 1 all the time, or I mostly feed thinner, considerably thinner?
I never, until this past fall, I never fed anything more than 1 to 1. And then this last fall, I fed thicker stuff because they just weren't putting on the weight on the colonies. Because of the dearth and them out flying, they just weren't building up. I mean, I probably put 4 to 8 gallons on each one of these colonies I still have out here, and which is more, like Brad says, he only puts 4. I think, Charlie, you said you put like 6 gallons or 4 gallons?
6, I probably.
6 gallons.
Yeah, we feed straight fructose to all our nukes that we create in the spring to build them up quick. And then we feed fructose from the dearth on, and we mix a little apis in it.
I don't sell it anymore, but that apis, it does the trick,
Yep. So by the time in middle October runs around. I got worker bees that look like drones running around in there. They're good and fat.
Steroid bees.
Steroid bees.
Steroid bees. That's
He
right.
puts the testosterone in there.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I'm putting something in them. Makes them grow.
He's got trans bees.
Trans bees.
Only you would come up with that, Phil.
But bush bees.
At this point, I got about 40 hives that I would DEI hire tomorrow if they would come back to work in the colonies. Yeah, keep getting notifications. Charlie, how you feeling, man?
I'm better today than I've been. Head colds, the head part's all cleared up, and throat's about 75% good.
You sound better today than you did yesterday, which is a good sign.
Yeah, I don't know. My throat gets a little dry and all. I still have a few coughs and stuff like that, but I don't know. Just the biggest thing we had the last 3 or 4 days is just it's been windy. It's been 20 degrees. It's just been really miserable and all that. Hey, Michael, 21st bees. Who was talking about the strip on the top, the bee strip on top of the frame?
Starter strip?
Yeah, that was Joey.
Joey, 21st
angled
bees.
strip.
Michael there from 21st bees. He might be the guy to help you out on that frame with the bee on it.
Yeah, he's on here.
Okay.
Michael, he's looking for a frame that used to have like a wedge, a wooden wedge, I'll say, on the top bar, so it would be naturally drawn down. Somebody said that you might have that in your new product line.
They don't sell them at Man Lake, don't sell wedge top bar height or top.
It's not actually a wedge.
Not a wedge.
Top. It's got an angle cut down on it to the center of that top bar comes so
It's in a triangle like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he says it's a Kelly F style.
Yep.
Michael, why don't you jump on if you got a video?
Remember the first frames I bought from Man Lake, you just had that little tab that you just pop loose, and I got a lot of those. Well,
Yeah, I do that a lot too, or used to.
pop them out, just glue the strip in, and then run a little bit of wax on the bottom of it and throw it in the
Yeah.
column.
Now I'm going to that story frame, so that's what I've kind of moved to now.
Right.
And there's Carl.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie,
That's
Charlie, I
pretty
think I'm
simple.
gonna get off of here. I'm starting to get tired. So
All right. Yeah, you look like you're
Man
laying
Lake
down on the
sells
job
everything, they
anyway.
just don't
Yeah.
have stock.
See there?
You eat all that gumbo. Now you
I
need
did.
to
I
go
ate
to
two
bed.
bowls. I ate 2 bowls. I think it was so good. I ate 2 bowls of it. That was my good. That's the smoked turkey gumbo too. That's good stuff. Joey
That's
knows
what's
about
making
that.
you so sleepy.
All right. Good night, fellas.
See you
All right,
later.
All right.
so.
Well,
I just got my date ant catalog this week.
yeah. Yeah, Michael, maybe we can get together and you can come on and talk about your products one night. What you got, Bob?
Oh, the date ant catalog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that here a couple days ago, I guess it was.
Yeah, I got mine too.
Wedge top bar frames, nails included. $4 a piece for a wooden frame.
Hey,
Throw that in the trash can. Holy crap. I think when I started, it was You could get 100 from Man Lake for like $89. And that wasn't that long ago, 6 years ago or so. And now they're what, $180? They're doubled in price for the same frames.
Yep.
But
I'm not going to tell you what I sell mine for.
less or more.
$140 a frame.
It's not bad.
Unassembly.
I got lucky a few years back. I think the local bee store here was clearing out some Pierco frames they had, plastic frames. They had them for I think I got them for $1.15. I bought every one they had in stock at the time, and didn't need them at the time. I just bought them because they were $1.15, and now I'm always short on frames. Seems like.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't help when you hit a stack of boxes with your pickup truck and crush some frames and stuff like that, but it's always something.
Yep. Oh boy. Tired. It's been a long week. Very long week.
Any of y'all going? Well, Joseph is too far away. Bill, are you going to the North Carolina / South Carolina bee conference next month?
Where are they having it at?
Just outside of Charlotte in Union, North Carolina. I'm going to be there for 2 days, I guess.
What's the date?
I can find out for you right now. Maybe I can.
You got to have advanced tickets to get in there too, don't you?
You can order them online. I'm sure it's not going to be that full. 6th through the 8th. So a couple more weeks. And every other year they do a joint session with North Carolina and South Carolina. So
yeah,
I was asked to go up there, so I'm going to be there for those 2 days.
When is that, man?
North Carolina, South Carolina.
Yeah, it's a North Carolina / South Carolina spring beekeeper meeting on the 6th through the 8th. That's the one I was telling you was outside of Charlotte yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 2 hours.
Who's doing the speaking, or anybody?
That's a great question. Let me see if I can find out. Where is it at? Gotta wait for it to scroll back by or something. Events.
And Doug says they're $1.85 up in Saskatchewan, but about 50 cents American.
Does that include a tariff both ways?
$9 a piece with the tariffs.
What's a piece with the tariff?
Luckily, they haven't gone into effect.
I was waiting for that shoe to drop on my wax.
Let me see if I can find it through North Carolina Beekeeper.
Charlie, I don't like this last cold snap. It's making me nervous.
What do you mean?
Well, we've had that. It's been pretty cold up here.
Yeah,
and then the wind blowing.
It's been cold and windy and everything else for the last 2 months. Tired of it.
Yeah. And it took a pretty good dive, here over the last week. So high in the mid-20s and lows.
But the thing of it is, you're complaining about that. But Doug up there, he's got bees outside. He does have covering or insulation around them, and it's 40 below 0 F.
Yeah.
So if they can survive, he said cold doesn't kill bees up there.
Hey, Bob.
Sir.
Registration for members is $75. Families $115. Non-members is $90, and families is $130. And walk-in registration on Saturday will be $10 less than the pre-registered and $30 less than the full conference rate.
You could always go up there as a bee supply and be a vendor.
No.
The speakers are Dr. Derek Mitchell,
Yep.
Dr. Brad Metz, Dr. Tammy Horn Potter, and everybody's favorite certified master beekeeper, David Burns.
I won't be going.
Sorry, Charlie. I did that just for you.
I won't be going.
No. I didn't even know the rest of them in there either.
Well, I guess Derek Mitchell says that talks about thermal fluid engineering of the honeybee nest.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Well, I guess you got to come down to the show to see what it is. Hell, I don't know. That's why he's speaking.
What's he got? Radiant heat inside the hive or something?
It says he's got published academic work in the Royal Society Journal, the Journal of Thermal Biology, and the International Journal of Biometeorology, I guess.
Yeah, he's a
Fluid
beekeeper.
Engineering of the honeybee nest.
Yeah, he's a beekeeper.
Some
Sure.
of which has been cited by Professor Thomas Seeley.
I met him.
Yeah.
He put you to sleep.
Brad
Yeah.
Metz is a research scholar with North Carolina State Apiculture Program. He's the lead scientist in charge of the Honeybee, Queen, and Disease Clinic.
He might be worth listening to.
Tammy Horn has been the Kentucky State Apiarist, but has recently started a new position as beginner beekeeper grant coordinator for Kentucky State University, in addition to a variety of grants and newsletters. She's also written Bees in America, How the Honeybee Shaped the Nation, Bee Economy, What Women in Bees Teach Us About Local Trade and Global Markets, Flower Power, Establishing Pollinator Habitats.
Man,
And
that sounds like a boring conference.
let's see what David Burns is talking about here.
Beginner beekeeping. That's what he's thinking.
That's what he's going to talk about is beginning beekeeping.
And making sure that you got to buy one of his honeybee kind winter shims.
Yep.
Backyard Beekeeping, Everything You Need to Know to Start Your First Hive was his book.
Yep.
Suite of online courses. He became a certified master beekeeper through the Eastern Apiculture Society in 2010. He also writes a weekly column for Bee Culture magazine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say what he's actually talking about.
Beginning beekeeping. That's all he ever talks about.
That's what he does. I mean, he was here in Maryland, the college that is next to me. Maryland brought him in, and he states right up on the stage, my thing is the beginning beekeeper, so he can keep selling them all the goodies that they need to have. Because he's also a beekeeper supply house too.
Yep.
He's a master, and you need to know it. Well, the last year I went to the North Carolina conference, and it was a nice little conference. I only went up for one day though. I wasn't there for the whole thing. But this year I'm being sponsored, I guess, by Apimon is the best way to put it. I'll be in the Apimon booth with when I say sponsored, I'm not making any money. He's paying for the hotel. So I still have to pay the gas. So actually it's a net loss, but there's that. I will be there. I will be there. So if anybody's in that area or coming to the conference, come up and say, hey. All right. Too many crickets. Charlie, you got to talk when it gets quiet.
Yeah.
You got to kick it in.
I was sitting here typing in. I got to go to a school in March and talk to the kids. I just happened to think about it. I was putting it in my schedule.
I was running everybody off. You better quit talking.
Well, Joey, it's a good thing you thought about it now instead of the morning of.
Yeah. Well, I had it in the text, but I just happened to think about it and said I better go ahead and put that in my schedule right now.
Do you take an observation hive for the kids on stuff like that, Joey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife, she helps out. She's a retired teacher, and when she gets in front of those kids, she's in her element. She's got a little bee puppet, and she gets some of these little red cups like this and puts them little yellow chiwis in there. And she's got that bee puppet, and she's got little flowers around there, and that bee lands in there and comes up with all that yellow dust all over them, showing them how all the plants get pollinated, stuff like that.
That's cool.
I did last time I spoke at a school like that. I did the Ian Stepler's Skittles thing. You ever, or I think he said he used Starburst in his or something. Where they run around to the collecting Starburst or Skittles and bringing it back like they're doing the wiggle dance and everything.
I tell you, it blows my mind how much them little kids know about bees. We get to asking them questions and everything, and they know a lot. All them hands going up.
Me.
Yeah.
Me. I know.
But I usually have to take 2 flashlights, and everybody won't see that queen, so I got to make sure we always know where she's at.
They allow you to come in and do all that still?
Yeah. Usually do about 3 schools a year.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's great.
And of course, I do the same thing Mr. Ed does with the gag box. I don't know if y'all ever.
Yeah,
where you open it up and the snake pops out of it.
Yeah. They want to make sure you bring that. The teachers do.
Last time I went, when I was done, they all asked the teachers, "Do you have any honey?" I had a couple bottles with me that I took as displays, but I didn't have a case in the truck. When next time I go, I will take a case in the truck because all the teachers were like, "Oh, I'll buy honey from you. You got honey?" And I just didn't think to take it.
Yeah, that's like Doug said there. I'm surprised they let you bring an observation in because of liability.
Yeah. That thing were to fall over. Whew.
Well, I built my own. Instead of having the latches, I got everything screwed closed.
There you go.
We had a deputy come in on one of them a couple years ago, and I've always left it on the little buggy I got. Matter of fact, that buggy's in here somewhere, and I just wheel it around, and it's sitting on top of the gag box, so it's high enough that the kids it's their height, so they can look in there. And this particular year, I was going with a friend of mine to a different school, and for whatever reason, he picked it up and set it on one of these white tables.
Uh-oh.
And it did good all the way through the whole thing. And then a deputy had come in there talking to us, and he leaned up against that table, and its legs folded, and that thing slid down on that floor. It didn't come apart, though.
That would have been something if it would have broke into pieces and all the bees would have just been picked
Right
off.
on the deputy.
I'd have left him with them.
Last time I did one, they actually brought the whole school's 4th grade. So it wasn't just like 20 students, right? It was like all of the 4th graders, and they were in the cafeteria. I could just see, they got those doors that you got to push the handle to get out. I could just see if that would have happened. And a whole nuke of bees is pissed off flying around on the inside of the cafeteria. it would have been bad.
Yeah.
Hey, Rodney. Yeah. It, I don't know. It's a different world out there anymore.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I hate to be a party pooper, but I got to get up and go to work in the morning. So,
Yeah, we're getting close to time to quit anyway.
yeah.
We're not going for 5-6 hours tonight, Charlie.
No, the ratings are dropping.
Ratings are dropping.
Yeah. So I'll see everybody Monday night, 8:00.
All right, Bill.
Uh,
Yep.
Yep.
Take care, Bill. Have a good
Y'all have a
weekend.
good evening. Have a great weekend.
Yep.
Bye.
See you later. You know, I used to video when I did those classes, and I always ask them, was it okay to video? And they said, yeah, everyone in here has signed a waiver, or their parents have signed a waiver. But I just never could. I've used a little bit of some of the pictures that I've taken in videos, but I just never have used them. I just hate for some parent to see it and say, I didn't tell anybody they could put my kid on YouTube, you know? So
Right.
well, what
stay away.
What about a background check these days?
On
You have
who?
that on you going into school.
No.
You know, they're getting to that point anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I have not done spring mite checks because it's still getting too cold. I see a question on there. But what I will say is I've used the Appy tablets only. I haven't done any oxalic acid. I haven't done any Apivar, anything, just Appy tablets. And I really haven't lost more than I normally lose, right? So it's the same. So as far as losses, so I mean, take that for what you want. It seemed to work just as well as everything else, I guess you could say. And it's I won't say it's cheaper than oxalic acid, because oxalic acid is pretty cheap to use, but then you got to have the vaporizer and everything else. So it just depends what you want. But the tablets work fine for me.
Is anybody else using the tablets?
I know there's a lot of commercial guys that have been using them. And I only know that because I know the owner of the company, and he's been sending pallets of them, which is 11,000 tablets. It's like 11,480 tablets to a pallet. He's been sending pallets of them to Oklahoma and Texas and different places.
Yeah, I've never messed with them.
Yeah, I don't know, Steve. I don't know that Bob Benny's ever used the Appy tablets. What he uses is, I think, what's the other thymol treatment that's out there? Apigard. And the thing is with the Appy tablets, for me, it's the extended release part of it. The fact that as they break it up, they're getting dosed, right? So that's the thing. And it's got sugar in it. They eat it. So now I've had people say, well, they're not touching it. Well, maybe it's the 5 pounds of fondant you just threw on your hive with the Appy tablets. If you're feeding them, they're not going to eat the tablets because they're going to eat.
Now, to clarify this, I watched the same. It wasn't so much the Appy tablets. He was talking about
thymol in general.
Oxalic acid and Aprigard, which, let's see, what was it? Aprigard stays in the hive longer, for a longer period of time. So they said to put OA in first, then Aprigard. Don't reverse it. Aprigard, I'll say, what do you call it? Fumigates
right.
heavily. and it permeates the wax and everything for quite a long time. So that's what he's talking about. The active tablet doesn't put off the gas like that, as far as I know.
And Hive Alive has a little bit of thymol in it too.
Yep.
But I've been mixing that into strips and
Yeah, I know Mike was talking
vaporizing, and I haven't
from,
gone down. I don't
from,
think I've had any issue there.
Yeah,
And last year I did have tablets on and hit them with some, like at the end of the year when I first got them, I did blast them with both. It's like this. If you've got too many mites that they might die, you're throwing everything you can at them, right? I've had Apiary in a hive and hit them with OA. I put tablets on and hit them with OA. But this past year, I just decided that it was not I was going to try it with just the tablets, and that's what I did all year. I mean, I had the tablets, so I didn't have to draw. I don't have one of the highfalutin battery charged units, right? So I've got a $500 ProVap because that's what was out when I bought it, and
Yeah, that's what I got.
and then you have to run extension cords and inverters and whatever you want to do. So it's really kind of it's not easy. If I had the battery charged one, maybe I would use more OA because as long as you have a charged battery, you're good.
well, you got a 100-foot extension cord in a house, so you can get them without all that other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. It's just that you got to get it, untangle everything, draw it out. I mean, it's laziness is what it is, because it's just, to be honest with you. But then the more colonies that I have, the further they are away from the house. So
It's a bigger cord. That's all.
Bigger cord, yeah, more amperage draw. But I've got the inverter that I used for the truck, and that all seemed to work pretty well.
That works just as good.
So Pastor Larry said we use Appy tablets and OA together. It hadn't had any issues. So I think it's based.
It must not be enough in it to affect it.
It's 8 grams. But the thing is that it's mixed all the way through, right? So as compared to the gel, I think with that thymol gel, when you shoot it full of vaporizer, I'm sure that gel absorbs some oxalic acid into it, I would assume.
Yeah, but the gel is off gassing at a great amount.
Right.
Where you're not getting that great amount out of the apple.
Yeah, the tablets aren't going to give it off as fast. It's supposed to be 6 weeks.
Exactly. And then you had Mike on here from Easy Ox talking about that. Somebody said where thymols in Hive Alive and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the way it's put together, I guess you would call it. It's in there, but it ain't smelling.
Todd.
I think everybody, like I say, you got a vapor and you got a heavy duty vapor. You got 2 big vapors.
Right.
And the one vapor is going to collect into the wax. And it's just a different delivery method.
This collapse thing that I can't get away from on YouTube. I swear to God, all these people get together in a Zoom meeting and say, this week, let's put out a video on this. And then everything is the same thing. But the collapse or losing a lot of colonies is a thing. But yes, is it Varroa? I think it is, but it's not. I tend to side more with Brad on those things. I don't know that it's the Varroa itself. It's more the viruses that the Varroa put out, right? It's not. Because we've all been in colonies that have had a lot of Varroa in them, but the Varroa, I don't know that they're actually physically killing the bees. If you got a healthy Varroa and a healthy bee, I don't know that that's an issue as much as if you got an infected with a virus Varroa feeding on the bees, right? You're kind of passing the disease around. And so that's where the issue is, that we don't have a way to treat the viruses in the colony. We can kill, Charlie, you could literally go out there every day and vaporize your hive, and every day you would get probably Varroa drop, right? So it's of some magnitude, but I just have kind of personally lost faith in the scientific community as far as Varroa mites. And this is just me. It's because they've been fighting it for 30 years, right? 30 years, and they got the same results they've had. No, it's not considered a miticide. It's sold as a supplement, kind of like your Hive Alive fondant has thymol in it and is sold as a feed. So same thing. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I don't want to bring drama to Charlie's channel. I'll leave the controversial stuff to my own channel, Charlie.
So
yeah,
so
I don't
Charlie,
know. I mean, I think they're going to find out that all this bee death. I think it's going to be some type of a virus.
That's
I
what
think
I
it's going
think.
to be something coming out of the sheds. But Charlie, so we got the Demaree that we talked about at Bill's class. We got the Roland Demaree that we talked about. Have you ever done or seen or heard anything about running 2 queens in a hive?
I've heard about it. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know how it works.
Actually, Brad up in Manitoba, I have a hive here that, the guy that was at the conference, what's it called? The Keeper's Hive.
Yep.
All right. He first started out with a hive that I've got here. I bought it. It's basically a rectangle, 8 frames on this side, 8 frames on that side. You got a queen here, and then you got a single stack going right straight up. Same identical, or not identical, but same theory as like Brad up there running 3 nukes, 3 for 6 frame nukes. Put the screen recruiter, and they put a stack of honey hives up the middle, and that's running 3 queens. That's runs actually 3 queens, and then Brad.
I tried it down here last year. It didn't work well for me.
Didn't work well with me either, and that's been 4 or 5 years ago. Because what happens is one of those queens will die, or something goes wrong,
and they won't requeen.
And they can smell the pheromones going back and forth, and then you still wind up with like 1 queen or both damn queens die. So now it's sitting in my shed.
Well, that's running custom gear. Could you do it similar to how the Demaree is going to be set up, with that queen in a brood box underneath a queen excluder, and then a couple of honey supers, and then another queen excluder, and another box up top with another queen in it? That way you're not using any of the special keeper's hive or any of the special splits where you're putting stuff together to stack them. I'm researching that a little bit right now to try and see if that might be a third way to play.
I think you can do it that way. I'm not an expert on that.
Well, is Michael Palmer's brood factory, is that not multi-queen, or is that a single queen?
Single.
Over 2 nuke boxes?
He's running a split in a 10 frame box and going vertical with it. But I have some of that, but it gets so tight in a 10 frame box running 5 and 5 with a split in the middle that I kind of shelved all that gear for right now. But that's his concept,
The thing is, when I did the 3 6 frame nukes, I had to do some investigation, right? Because to do 3 6s side by side like that, well, you had to use 7/8 wood for the measurements to come out, like in Canada, right? So I had to buy some 7/8 boxes to do that. But it's probably something I did, because definitely in Canada, their bees seem to, like that box of bees in the back here, this nuke that Charlie's got on the screen, you pretty much have to be slam full, overflowing with bees to get them to do it, I think. you're not going to make a light split and make it happen like that. Let's see.
I don't know. I mean, Will, you're more or less trying to make us produce much as honey as you can, I guess.
Well, I'm just trying a couple different things. I'm going to do some the way I've done them in the past, and I want to do, like we talked about in the class last weekend, the standard demery and then the rolling. And I've heard a lot about a 2-queen system, and I don't want to do a keeper's hive. I don't want to do anything. I want to use standard gear. And I was just looking at, is there a way to do it stacked vertically with 10 frame gear?
Yeah.
So Doug says he's done 3 frame nukes. He says it would produce 4 supers of honey for him. That's up in Canada, right?
Yeah, but that's also 24,000 acres of
Canola or something.
canola out there to get it.
Yeah.
You got to remember, like James says, you put one deep box of frames, 10 frames, they will draw the wax and fill it in 7 days. That's
Ian, I got to congratulate you guys on winning the cup. You beat us in our 5th best sport.
Well, that kind of sucked.
Yeah, it was a good game though.
It was a good game, yeah. But how you leave the best hockey player on the planet 15 feet in front of the goal by himself is beyond me. I should.
Yeah, well.
And
I prefer to win the clock 3 times.
If Brad was on here, he would give his opinion on the game, I bet.
He says, "What's hockey?"
Yeah.
21st B, I'll be there. I'll try to come by and see you.
That's Michael.
But I don't like politics. Well, I can't say that. I try to keep up with them more lately, but it's moves too fast.
So didn't Ian, aren't you up at your conference this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 9:30 at night. It's all their stuff's probably done.
Oh, okay.
Off to have a beer with Brad and Bob. Cheers.
Okay, cool.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, I FOMO'd out on that one. I was like, man, I wish I could have went this year. That was one of my favorite trips last year. And to Charlie's, that was one of my favorite trips last year too.
You about froze your ass off.
Yeah, it was nice all the way up until the day we were leaving. Then it really, really hit. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Oh, it's cold up there right now, though. It's colder this year than last year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What? I wonder if Brad picked up Bob at the airport in short pants.
He did last year. Oh, well, I think Ian. I don't know who picked Bob up this year. It wasn't Brad, though.
No.
Just watching some chats here.
Clay just said that your video, that live that we did here when you were here, he really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, we had fun. We had fun for sure. That's what Charlie needs to do that. At least, if anything, to recoup the cost of the materials that he's got. All them top bar hives. I would be selling them to everybody.
Spanky, you come on up and I'll give you one. Or two. He's got about 50 of them. You probably 50 you think you got 50 or more? Nah, maybe 30.
Maybe 30.
I don't know. 20 or 30, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
A road trip.
Some assembly required too.
He's not. You're not going to put it together for him ahead of time.
You got to put it together, and you might have a few parts might be missing.
A few parts might be missing. Just like if you ordered it from China.
Well, I can tell you the top bars are not, they're pretty much going. The ones that I made. They were talking about wedge bars. Mine were wedges.
Wedge
Yeah.
top bar.
It was 72 degrees here today.
It only got 44
Nice.
here.
It's supposed to be 75 on Sunday.
Totally
then it's gonna
jealous.
drop back down.
Yeah, Spanky, Ricky was here and he could have got one, but he was loaded up with all those other hives that he was dropping off. He needed a bigger truck.
Do they not crazy comb those things?
Just get a trailer and cut them in half, and then put them on the trailer.
Oh my god!
That always works, from what I've heard.
How's your ant problem doing, Todd?
Well, I don't know. I haven't been out since that. Well, I was out the next day. They weren't around, but I'm sure they were out and about today. It sucks. I can't believe they're out already. I got so pissed off when I saw
I
that.
saw somebody online selling hives off of the the picture was double deeps. It didn't really say, but they were selling hives for $190 off the almonds. And I don't know if they're double deeps or not, but boy, is that a deal. I mean, if you had queens, you could be a nuke manufacturing individual off of those bees. You know?
And that's not right now. That's after they release them from the almonds.
Yeah, well,
So
that's soon, right?
That's
Well, depending on the shortage, right? They might have to move them and move them and move them. So who knows?
All right,
probably
All
got
right.
4 weeks.
Todd, are you an expert about almonds and everything? And them bees, you know enough of them guys out there?
Sort of. I guess just enough. I don't know. Test me.
Well, is almond pollen good or bad for the bees?
Well, just like everything else, there's the other side of the coin. So yeah, it's good for early buildup, but some guys say that it doesn't give them enough nutrition. But everybody I've talked to say they get a good buildup from it. So I can tell you this though, the almond honey tastes like battery acid. That's
Battery acid.
I've heard people talk about how nasty it is.
Like you're licking the top of a 9-volt back in the day.
that'll clean your brass belt buckle for sure. But
That'll
I mean,
also let people know how old you are when you talk about licking 9-volt batteries.
Oh, it's terrible. It really is. It is bitter. It's like bitter beer face times 20. I mean, that's how bad it is.
So what do? They just spin it out and
No,
get rid of it?
the bees eat
Let
it.
the bees have
Just
it.
leave it for the bees?
They'll eat it. Yeah. But
Well,
yeah,
I mean, that'd be good feed for nukes, right? You just drop a couple frames in.
yeah. You gotta make sure that you know what's what though. You get that in a batch of honey and forget it. It'll turn the honey. But so yeah, when they're advertising prices now, they're advertising for probably mid-late March. Yeah, mid-late March. Or yeah, probably late March this year. But that tells me if you saw $190, that tells me that's how much the guy was getting his contract for too, because they'll typically match the contract price that they're getting. So they rent it for 190 and then they sell it for 190. So they get $380 from that colony.
Yeah, and then that's just buying it in California out of the yard. That don't include trucking it to the East Coast, which is going to probably add maybe 10 grand to it.
And that's why they don't do it. They rather sell it here so they don't have to have the expense on the way back.
Yep.
And they buy 10 grand worth of boxes and start all over again.
Brand new boxes. And I guess some guys do that year after year. you know. Well, they have to have newer pallets coming here, so you might as well. 1-year-old pallets aren't going to be that bad, so you just don't want to have like old pallets because there's those state line inspectors. If they see anything crawling on it, they'll flag the truck, and then you have to sit there for however long it takes to pressure wash everything. They see one bug on a load, it's all got to come off, pressure wash it, and then you got to put it back on. That's if you have a forklift. Imagine if you're out in the Colorado River area coming into California, out in the middle of nowhere. If you have no forklift, you have to sit and wait till someone can bring you one. So you might be there for a day or two.
They say they're selling 372 hives after pollination in about 3 weeks.
372 hives, about 30 hives short of a load.
And it's in Newcastle, California.
Yep. That's up by Jose.
Well, whoever buys them probably getting ready to go up, maybe up north with them, huh?
Maybe, yeah.
Dakotas or
Up to the apples or something up there.
yeah, or Washington.
Yeah.
Is that what's up in the Dakotas anyway?
Clover.
Yeah, it's all clover up there.
Lots and lots of clover.
Must be yellow clover.
They say North Dakota clover is the best clover you'll ever taste.
Yeah.
I've tasted it. It's good.
I don't
Is it-
eat weeds that much.
Is it yellow clover, white clover? What is it?
I think it's white, but I'm not sure. But I do know it's good, though.
Mm.
It's better than.
I know they got a lot of colonies up there because when I was up there a few years ago, South Dakota and North Dakota,
Yeah.
every couple of miles you'd see a big bee yard out to the
Yeah.
edge of the road.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, they have all those, open range fields with full of clover.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, I've never been up there, but I think that clover runs off and on all year. Well, not all year, but a whole,
All summer.
Yeah.
whole
yeah.
summer. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
That's where the one of the commercial guys I was talking about earlier, he does the almonds. Then he brings them to Mississippi, removes his queens, does all his splits and requeening,
yeah.
and gets them loaded and goes up to Dakotas with them.
Yeah.
Yep. You either do that or the guys on the East Coast, I think they bring them back and then they send them to Maine for it's either apples in New York, it's Maine for blueberries, and somewhere else up the Northeast for the cranberries.
Cranberries.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's actually got two different loads, two different routes. I think one goes straight up. Maybe I can't remember. Maybe around Wisconsin, somewhere up in there. I don't know what they'd be doing up there. Somewhere up that way, and then they got the Dakota route too. It may be on the East Coast, New York area.
Yeah.
I'm talking about pollinating apples. The apple peoples around here, they don't bring bees in anymore for that.
Yeah.
And there's guys that's all they do. They chase pollination. They do cherries, apples, oranges,
Yep.
plum, peaches, and all the stone fruit.
Cranberries in Wisconsin.
Clover. I mean, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
But you can't make a living doing that nowadays with gas prices.
You have to pull your mobile extraction room behind you so you can keep
Yeah.
thinning out honey to give them boxes back, or what? How do they do that? Because they
Maybe
got to fill up.
Yeah, who knows?
I think they land a lot of them in the Dakotas, and then they put them in the sheds, and then they pop out in time for almonds. But,
Yeah. And you guys were talking about viruses earlier. That's why I think what's going on with the bee population is we hit the saturation point of viruses, and the bees can't take it anymore. It's it's above that line, And I think a lot of it, if you think about it, people making nukes might inadvertently have a hand in it because they're passing off frames that might be loaded with viruses that, after a while, they're overrun with the frames themselves are overrun with virus, and you're just passing it around. 100 goes to this guy and 100 goes to that guy. I mean, it could be something like that. I don't know for sure, but I think it's a virus. If everybody's got it, it has to be a virus. It can't be something
Well,
else.
you figured almonds is a great mixing yard.
Yeah.
Well, and then,
Yeah, but this happened before the almonds. I mean, they
Yep.
they don't set them in the fields in probably in January, but in December they're in holding yards somewhere else, or they're out of state still. So
well, or they're in these sheds. I'm hearing a lot of that coming out of those sheds. I
Yeah.
think the sheds might be something to do with it. Norman, I'm hearing 65, 67 for apples is what I'm hearing.
no, I think they have those viruses before they get into the sheds. I think it's. I mean, maybe the sheds are a great incubation place
Yeah.
for it.
Yep.
But yeah, they're not getting out when they're in the sheds, and so a virus just has a heyday passing from bee to bee. So, I don't know.
Well, and they play with the air in the sheds too to keep the
Yeah.
CO2 up because that slows them down and they don't consume as much. So yeah, there's a lot of science to those sheds and
Yeah.
so
They're building some out here too. There's some. I heard there's some growers on the west side that are trying to get together to build a couple sheds. So they're large growers, so that they're kind of guaranteed that they're going to have bees. But I don't know what's going to happen now.
well, they would have to refrigerate them, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but it's if they bring them in December, it's getting chillier. January is a cold month, and they start putting them out in the orchards in February. They have to be out by middle of February. I think it's usually Valentine's Day is when they set it, or the 15th. They
Yep.
say you got to be in by then. But there's still cold enough weather where they don't have to really chill those. If they had a shed here, they wouldn't have to chill it big time. They'd have to use the refrigeration, but it's still a cold time of the year. And we're in the valley, so we're in a hole. If you imagine standing in, the south, in LA, and you look north, you could see the Sierras to your right, and you could see what's called the coastal range to your left, and in the middle there's a valley, and that's where like this area is at. It's in a valley, and so that cold air settles in a lot easier than on the coastal side. So, but it doesn't get cold, not like back east.
Yeah, I think the magic number they look for in the sheds is 40, 42 degrees, something like that.
Yeah. And it's been about like that the last several nights here.
I think Brad says he tries to keep his around 40 C, 4 Celsius, right? 4 Celsius, 40 C. Right in that area.
That's 40, yeah. 40 F.
40 F, yeah.
But I don't know. Could be a new virus that nobody knows about. Could be a virus that's taken on a new life, evolved into something else. But yeah, I'm pretty certain it's a virus.
Look, we talked Charlie into going an extra hour. He's ready to give up an hour.
He just cracked open another Diet Coke.
I was going to say, he's ready to go now.
He's got to work in the morning.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and shut the chat down, and we will, and all that. So you guys just hang on here. Let me see how this is going to work for me. We'll see y'all next week, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, everybody.
Yippers.
Good,
All
good for glad to see everybody in tonight.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you
Yep,
later.
good night.
Hmm.